Unlike solar panels, wind turbines can supply power at night and during bad weather, but we don't see as many wind turbines on roofs as we do solar panels. In this video, we'll look at why that is and how you can determine if your home will benefit from a wind turbine installation. My name is Shanley, welcome to my channel. Solar power installations at homes have become more and more common over the years, and for good reason. They're easy to install, you can easily quantify the energy that you will get from them, and you intuitively know where best to install them. You look at your roof, you check which side gets the most sunlight, and you remove anything that might obstruct sunlight, and there you go. Solar installers are easy to come by, and the components of solar power systems are relatively simple. Solar panels, a roof mounting kit, an inverter and batteries if you want an off-grid or hybrid set. But solar panels also have some disadvantages. They don't generate power when the sun goes down, so you need to switch to battery power or pull more power from the grid. And they generate less power when the weather is not too great, like when it's cloudy or when it's raining. Wind turbines, on the other hand, can produce electricity at any time of day or night, and bad weather often increases their production. However, they're not as simple to understand or to determine their feasibility as solar power installations. To determine the feasibility of a wind turbine, we first need to look for a suitable location based on what we know about how wind behaves and what would be most beneficial for turbine efficiency. The most important factor in the efficiency of a wind turbine is wind speed. Wind speed is greater the higher up you go. So you could ask yourself, how high up can you reasonably place a wind turbine at your location? Wind speed is also greater when there are fewer obstructions in the vicinity of the turbine. So you could ask yourself, are there any obstructions in the vicinity of the planned location for the wind turbine? In this first step, we're really just looking to pass some common sense tests to determine if the next step is even worth it. If you've never noticed any wind at your location, it's probably best just to stick to solar power. If you've noticed a fair amount of wind at your location, not too many obstructions for the wind, and there's a possibility for you to gain some height, perhaps with a tower or on top of a roof, then it's probably not a bad idea to move to the next step. The second step would be to look at wind resource data at the intended location. You can get wind resource data from online databases or weather stations, or you can install an anemometer at your site. An anemometer is an instrument used to measure wind speed. Using this data and some of the technical information from your intended small-scale wind turbine supplier, you can determine how much energy you would be able to get from a wind turbine and whether or not it will be worth the cost of the installation. I did this analysis for a small-scale wind turbine in 2 locations. For the first location, I used Centurion in Pretoria. I found a decent quality wind turbine, I got details of the turbine from its technical data sheet, and I used this information to calculate its feasibility. I assumed a turbine height of 10 meters. For this wind turbine, I calculated that the total electricity produced would be around 120 kilowatt hours for the year. The residential electricity tariff is around R2.50 per kilowatt hour, so this gives a saving of only around R300 per year on the electricity bill. The turbine that I used for this example cost R24,000. The electricity tariff is likely to increase over the next few years, and so at an annual increase of 15%, the payback period of this turbine comes to 18 years. This means that the turbine would need to operate properly for the next 18 years for it to be worth the purchase. And this doesn't even consider the mounting structure, the additional electrical components, or maintenance. This is typical for small-scale wind turbines in residential areas, and so it's understandable that wind turbine projects are generally large scale in remote areas where there's a lot of wind and not many buildings or other structures obstructing the wind. Solar installations with battery storage for overnight use often yield a far better payback period than small scale wind turbines. Solar with batteries typically pay for themselves within 5 years. I did another analysis of the same wind turbine in a second location. This time it was Bathurst in the Eastern Cape. The site is more remote and the wind resource is much better here. For this site, I calculated that the same wind turbine would generate about R4,000 worth of electricity per year. With a turbine cost of $24,000, the payback period is 6 years. This is much better than the previous location, but let's compare it to solar power. For the turbine, we only looked at the generating device itself, so no mounting system, no additional electric components, and no maintenance. So for comparison, If we just look at the solar panels, for the same money, you could get nearly 5 kilowatt of solar panels, which would generate anywhere from 15 to 20,000 rands worth of electricity per year, giving a payback period of under 2 years. So much better than the wind turbine. There are many more things to consider when determining the actual benefit. For example, will the household be able to use the power when it's available? Would they need a battery bank? And so on. But this does demonstrate why solar power is much more prominent than wind turbines, even in very windy areas. There's been a recent installation of small-scale wind turbines at the V&A Waterfront in Cape Town. I decided to do my own analysis of the viability of the wind turbines installed. The turbines are manufactured by a company called Luftside, based in Germany. The turbines used at the waterfront are the LS Double Helix 1.0. Based on the technical details downloaded from the Luftside website and using wind resource data, I calculated that one of these turbines would produce around 1,100 kilowatt hours or about 2,800 rands worth of electricity per year. These turbines cost in the region of 300,000 rand each, and allowing for an electricity tariff increase of 15% per year, the payback period on these turbines is around 20 years. If you allow for maintenance costs, you're looking at around 25 years payback before you start to benefit from the installation. So again, this is why wind turbine projects are generally large scale in remote areas where there's a lot of wind and not many buildings or other structures obstructing the wind. I'm Shanley Lachman. I hope you like, subscribe, comment, and share.